If you wanted to brainwash yourself, you could take the exact same process and use it for setting goals. When it comes to brainwashing, what you're really looking at is effective, fast change of behavior. The definition of discipline is your ability to prioritize the needs of your future self ahead of your own. We're going to stop asking ourselves, how do I motivate myself better? How do I get more motivation or more discipline? And we start asking, how do I reprogram the system that decides what feels necessary? I think when it comes to brainwashing, what you're really looking at is effective, fast change of behavior. And that's what brainwashing really is. Can we change behavior fast? And there's a formula to brainwashing, is that if you wanted to brainwash yourself, you could take the exact same process and use it for setting goals. So goal setting is built for the wrong brain. So it's built for the thinking brain instead of the deciding brain. And we have two of those things. So I think most people don't realize this, but neuroscience figured this out a long time ago. So the part of you that plans your goals, the prefrontal cortex, this is our front human part of the brain. This is not the part that actually executes behavior. Execution lives a whole lot lower, way downstairs. And that's why people can know exactly what they want to do and still they don't do it. So we don't have a character flaw problem here. And most people are like, oh, I'm an idiot, I'm lazy, or I lack discipline. It's just architecture. So once you understand that, we're going to stop asking ourselves, how do I motivate myself better? How do I get more motivation or more discipline? And we start asking, how do I reprogram the system that decides what feels necessary? So that one question. Yes, if something feels necessary, then of course we're gonna jump on it. We're gonna take action on it. So step one is target acquisition. So this is how the brain locks onto something. And your brain has a structure called the reticular activating system, which is part of the reticular formation. And inside of this RAS its job is to filter reality, not really giving you full reality. It's just filtering it down to what it thinks is important to you. So you're exposed to millions and millions of bits of information every second. So it deletes almost everything else. So what does it keep? It keeps what it's been trained to look for. That's why when you go out and buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that thing everywhere. The cars didn't multiply, and it's not like everyone went out and copied you and went out and got the same car. Your brain says, okay, Chase thinks this pickup truck is important. I'm going to show him everybody else that has this pickup truck everywhere. So it's your brain changing a filter. Okay, so instead of me saying more money, I'm going to have a number, a condition. I'm going to precise arrival. What does it look like to arrive there? So we're moving from motivation to just neuronal targeting. So we're teaching our brain what matters, and we're going to do it whether you want to on purpose or you're just letting it happen. It's happening all day anyway. So the brain's going to work on problems that it thinks are relevant to survival and identity, whether you consciously think about them or not. So is this congruent with who I think and say that I am? And is this going to help me survive in the tribe? Is it going to help me live longer, whatever? So step two is threat modeling. These are kind of like black site terms. But what I want everybody to know is fear is not the enemy here. And this part can make some people uncomfortable, but neuroscience is crystal clear on this. This has been reviewed for hundreds of years. The brain is not optimized for happiness. No neuroscientist will ever tell you that. It's optimized primarily for threat avoidance. So threat avoidance is number one. Humans don't move toward pleasure, is what this is telling us. We're way more likely to move away from threat. So what we're going to do to the human brain is to weaponize the contrast. So the protocol here for step two is to write two futures out. Build two different futures, not just one. So future A is the desired outcome. This is vivid, sensory, precise, and very calm confidence, all the stuff that you're arriving at this place. Future number 2 is the failure trajectory there. So this is if nothing happens, nothing changes, same habits, same beliefs, same excuses. This one has to be very uncomfortable. So loss aversion is stronger than reward anticipation in the brain. This emotional part of our brain, it's a threat detection center, activates like 10 times faster and 10 times stronger than all the reward circuits. So when people only visualize success, they're missing half of the equation. So consequences are very important. So the brain needs that contrast. You need to show it. Where you're going if you change and where you're going if you don't. And here's the thing that most people I don't think articulate. Doing nothing is still choosing the future. And once you visually model that future emotionally, not just abstract, emotionally, something flips. Staying the same begins to feel unsafe. And that's the point that everyone needs to get to. You need to get in a place where staying the same starts to feel unsafe. That's where you want to be. And safety is the language. It speaks that fluently. So that's step 2. All right, so step 3. This is identity engineering. So our habits follow our self-image. So with step 2, we're engineering this identity thing. Your brain is going to violate logic before it violates identity. Think about this. We're not gonna say like, oh well, I'm stupid and here's all these logic things that make total sense. We will call logic stupid and then rewire the identity around it. This is called cognitive dissonance. It's well researched. So if behavior conflicts with identity, behavior changes, not identity. This is why people sabotage goals that don't match who they believe they are. So instead of asking, how do I force myself to do this? We ask, what kind of person would never even question this behavior? So I want to give you this one piece here that is worth just burning into your soul. Identity lives in predictive processing. So your brain's model of who I am and how I operate is what that is. So once that model updates, habits stop requiring a whole lot of effort. So that's why willpower feels exhausting as hell. Fighting the model instead of rewriting it. So when identity shifts, behavior feels obvious. So if you really want to do brainwashing on yourself, they're not aspirations that you're setting down. You're writing the rules, like the lifestyle rules of this new identity, and on a recurring basis. So that's rule 3. All right, so next is environmental sabotage. And as a subtitle for this, you could write down, context always beats discipline. So here's a super overlooked fact that is out there. If most of your behaviors is context dependent, it's not value dependent. So it's same person, different environment, you get a different behavior. So your basal ganglia run all of these scripts that are tied to location and time and posture and cues. That's why changing your environment works even when motivation doesn't work. But novelty, making something new and repetitive, forces the brain out of autopilot mode. So when the environment changes, prediction errors increase. So a prediction error is our brain saying, I've been in here a million times, here's exactly what it's going to look like, here's exactly what it's going to happen, here's how this conversation is going to play out. So those little errors in prediction increase. So anytime the brain has a spike in prediction errors, it becomes plastic again. This means that some neurons that need to get a divorce will get a divorce, and they'll start dating other people and eventually reconnect where they need to be inside the brain. So this is why people change more on vacations and trips than they do at home. So modifying all of these things makes our brain say, whoa, this is different. So this could be getting a new wardrobe, rearranging furniture, painting a few rooms in your house. So now the next few weeks when you walk in there, you'll be like, whoa, I forgot I did this, like right when you wake up. But you can make changes that are very different. jam a stuffed animal into your dashboard, whatever it takes, whatever you have to do. How can I make my brain say, whoa, this isn't what I predicted, or this is different than the map that I formed before? So I'm going to spike prediction errors there. And it's not that you're weaker at home or in the predictable area, you're just scripted. So you deliberately disrupt the environment to break all of these old loops. So the protocol here, deliberately change something, the physical layout, all the visual cues that you're used to seeing, the daily routines, the clothing or schedule or looks or whatever it is. You're going to come repeatedly tell the brain, A, you're in charge, B, things are different. That's kind of what's happening. Novelty forces our attention. Attention creates plasticity, and then plasticity creates new behavior. And there are a few things you can do. The number one thing, when we talk about discipline, the definition of discipline is that no one talks about your ability to prioritize the needs of your future self ahead of your own. And that's all it is. Can I prioritize future me above my present self? So over time, I'm going to try to do things on a repetitive basis as often as possible to where future me is getting some kind of reward. I might set up the coffee maker the night before. I might put clothes out for myself. I might just put a thing on my phone that reminds me in certain times. And this is short term, right? So these are small little things. So the more actions I can take to set up my future self for success, the more, once that success comes, I'm looking backwards to my past tense self, not with regret, but with gratitude. That's the most important shift to make. And I'm going to continuously do this. I'm essentially acting like a butler, except I'm doing it for myself. I am the butler of my future self. And this isn't just like folding clothes and setting up coffee. This is how we spend money. The food that we're eating, the stuff we're buying at a grocery store is all going to dictate, am I prioritizing me now or me later? And a lot of people never really have this conversation of where are my priorities. And they're typically, when people are not really getting the results they want out of life, their priorities are now, here and now, and maybe a little bit in the future, but they're not really prioritizing all the things that are happening in the line. So what happens is my daily interactions are I'm looking backwards, or I'm anticipating stuff that my past tense self has set up for me. So I've got dopamine coming in, anticipation and drive to start setting my future self up, and I'm getting dopamine to get stuff from my past tense self. So I'm getting dopamine from both directions of versions of me. And that is the most powerful way that we can start doing that. And just the way to do this, there's not like, here's 17, super cool tricks to do this or some formula. You just do it as much as you can, and you rate yourself every single day. How did I do? Where were my priorities today? And it takes 10 seconds to put it in a notebook or journal, calendar, whatever. And you put it down. And just the act of rating yourself and bringing it into your conscious awareness is the fastest way to get that process into your life. Because it's the same thing like when you buy a new car and you start seeing it all over the place. I'm just repetitively exposing myself to that level of awareness. And you don't need to change anything. Your mammalian part of your brain is going to do that for you. And the most common is probably time management and environment management. Like if you're thinking that you're going to be a multimillionaire, or you want to run a company or something like that, and you can't organize your office or your desk, and you can't keep your area clean, like you can't even pick up after yourself. Every time that you go out and you want to look like a CEO, you want to look like a leader, you're going to know there's a part of your brain dedicated to knowing that you're faking it. And that's where we have incongruent behavior. And that's how we make these gut feelings in other people. We have this conversation, everything looks great. We follow that LinkedIn article that we read of 14 ways to look more confident and command respect like a leader. And that person kind of gets a gut feeling. And the gut feeling is like, something's not right. Something is not adding up. So no matter what we do, we're sending off these small signals. So environment, time, appearance, And appearance is like my hygiene, all of that stuff that might signal that I'm an authority to other people. So environment, time, appearance, social skills. And social is one of the ways that we should be getting dopamine, and we're not. We're getting it from social media instead of my closer circle of friends, my next door neighbors that live next to my house, the people that live across the street, the people in 3D are where most of your social dopamine should come from. 3D human beings and not 2D human beings, people that you know.